Our guest tonight is wrestling sensation Candice LeRae. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm super excited. You like that? That's how I try to start strong, and then.
I felt really cool, man. I was like, oh, sensation. Yeah.
Okay, if you trademark that, I do want a cut, a very small portion, but wrestling sensation. Well, on October
Oh,
21st,
thank you.
you can have it. Believe me, I don't want anything. On October 21st, during the Wrestling Circus 1 year anniversary show, Circus Mania, you team up with Joey Ryan to square off against John
Yeah.
Morrison and Taya Valkyrie. What can fans expect from this matchup?
I'm actually really excited that this is going to happen because I've been wanting to wrestle against Taya for a long time. And, it was supposed to happen, and then things kind of fell through. So, I mean, aside from me just being excited for that opportunity in general, the Wrestle Circus crowd and environment is such a special one, and I have so much fun there, and it's like it couldn't happen at a better place. It honestly couldn't. I think it's gonna be crazy. I personally don't even totally know what to expect just yet, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun for everybody.
Well, you mentioned how you love Wrestle Circus, and you've worked for independent wrestling
Yeah.
companies all over the world. So, Wrestling Circus, how do they stack up, both in ring and from like a behind the scenes perspective?
I think they do such a good job of bringing in just all different kinds, like just variety of talent, which is important. I think people, when you go to some promotions, they're like, well, this is the style that our promotion runs, and this is the style that this promotion runs. And so sometimes some promotions are more serious and they don't want to bring in people like, Colt Cabana, because they're going, well, he's going to be funny, and we want just strong style wrestling matches, even though pretty sure Colt Cabana could do some pretty awesome strong style wrestling. They're just not going to think, oh yeah, we'll bring him in. But like Wrestle Circus, they're going, well, let's see, let's bring in some fun characters. Let's bring in, I've seen some ridiculous stuff on these shows where, Leva's always got some kind of crazy, who knows what cosplay that she's doing, and finds her way into just the most absurd circumstances. But then you have your guys that are like your Brian Cage, who's just this monster. And then, I got to wrestle Eden Page, and that doesn't exactly get to happen everywhere. And I don't think that that's a match everybody would be willing to book. But Wrestle Circus is going, no, you know what? Let's throw these two people in the mix. So you get so much variety on a Wrestle Circus show, and there's so much fun. The crowd is just into everything. They're rowdy, rambunctious, and they kind of add to the fun, so it makes it a lot easier for us wrestlers. I don't know, it's so much fun. So much fun.
BG, next question.
Big party.
Well, your match at Circus Mania is highly anticipated because fans have come to expect greatness from all four of you. When you have a match of this caliber and one that is announced so far in advance, how do you prepare mentally and physically?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, I'm always trying to prepare to be at my best no matter what, regardless. But I feel like there are some times where I have to more so mentally prepare myself to get into more trouble than usual. Sometimes I'm going up against somebody that I'm going may not need as high risk. I might be okay not having to kill myself, but I kind of feel like, okay, maybe my body needs to just be prepared to expect the worst, just because I'm more than likely going to have to put more out there, more on the line, which is okay. That's kind of my shtick. I gotta high risk, high reward, So I don't know. I just try. I guess it's not too much different other than mentally preparing to just probably hurt myself in some way, shape, or form.
Mike, here, next question.
Yeah, you were one of the standout performers in the Mae Young Classic, and you were a big part of what made that tournament such a major success. Where does competing in the Mae Young Classic rank among your career accomplishments, and what kind of adjustments did competing on such a huge stage require you to make?
It's still really insane to me that it even happened. I kind of feel like I kind of feel like I did after I got married, where I was seeing my name, like this new last name, and realizing that I'm married, going, did it really happen? And even with all the pictures, and so it's like same thing, Mae Young Classic. I'm like, I got all the, WWE.com tweeting at me and all this stuff, and I'm going, I just don't even believe this is actually happening. And my husband was, came home from work the one day, and he's going, all right, you ready to watch it? It's airing tonight. And I'm going, there's no way this is actually like all real. I still to this day am just it's insane to me, because it's something that I've wanted since I was a 6-year-old little kid. So I don't know, it's just super cool. I felt like I've been, as far as preparing goes, I was preparing my entire career for that. Like, that's what everything was so that I could have that opportunity. And it's like, I used to think I got into wrestling at the wrong time, and it was just never going to happen for me, because I was just, a little different than some of the other girls that I was around when I first started wrestling. And I'm starting to realize everything happened as it was supposed to, and I got into it at exactly the right time. So very thankful.
Well, anytime someone competes under the WWE umbrella, there's obviously going to be questions about potentially signing a contract. So what's your level of interest in signing with WWE, and how likely do you believe it is that you'll end up there on a full-time basis eventually?
I mean, I would love to end up there. I've turned down other opportunities just in hopes of the opportunity to come with them one day. So it's obviously, I mean, my dream has always been to wrestle for WWE and, have a full-time contract there. So I kind of felt if I was going to go anywhere else and do anything else, I was cheating myself out of my lifelong dream. So it's still to this day my ultimate goal. So I'm being very hopeful. I'm just taking it day by day, crossing my fingers.
Brandon Gavin, next question.
An important topic recently on social media has been misogynistic fans and chants, with many top performers speaking out against fans who participate in such degrading acts. Have you ever experienced this during a match, and how do you feel promotions or promoters should try to regulate against it?
I kind of have a different mindset, I think, than some people do, because my own tag team partner is obviously one of the ones who is first in line to speak out against such actions. I tend to try to ignore people, because I feel like I'd rather focus on the positive than the negative. I feel as though if we shed light on that individual or those individuals, then they're just getting what they want. Anymore, people just want, they just want some kind of reaction. They want some kind of spotlight on them, and I just don't care to give that to them. I do think that it's ridiculous that it still exists. And it's kind of what I tell Joey all the time whenever because he gets really just revved up over it. It really bothers him. And I just tell him, I said, you know what? At one point in life, people thought that, man was never going to be able to fly, and that the world was flat. So let them just keep believing what they want, and let's just keep doing what we're doing and focus on the good, not the bad.
Somewhere Kyrie Irving is so pissed off at you because he really does think the earth is flat. I just want that on the record. He really does think the earth is flat. There are people out there who still think that. I
know. Well, I know. And that's the thing. It's like people are so stubborn that you telling them to change their perspective is not going to fix anything. They're going to keep on believing what they want. And no matter what we say or do, it's not going to change their opinion. They may see it as fact, but it's an opinion. And let them have it. I don't need them to tell me that I'm wrong, because I'm not going to I won't tell them they're wrong. They don't tell me I'm wrong.
Agreed. Well, listen, you fought some of the best performers in the world. There are several big names you haven't fought, though. Wrestling fans love to talk dream matches, but for you, who are some of the wrestlers you've never faced off against yet that you'd like to square off against?
I would love to wrestle Kenny Omega. And I didn't realize it before, but more so recently, I want to wrestle Cody Rhodes. And part of that is because I feel like I'm converting him into liking intergender wrestling a little more than he thought originally he did. So fingers crossed. He did tweet and say that I was a dream match, so I was like, well, and fans were shocked because they're going, no way. I'm trying to think of, obviously, I would love, love, love to wrestle Bayley so much. She and I are both California natives, and we tagged together and wrestled against each other, before she was signed. So I'd love to be able to wrestle her again. I'd also wish that I could wrestle Asuka. That'd be super cool too. I have so many people that are just like, oh yeah. But those four are probably my top of the list, with Kenny Omega being the top of the list.
Mikey, our next question.
If only.
Yeah, like Wrestle Circus. We know some people over there. Wrestle Circus. Let's make that happen. Okay, let's get Kenny in America. Let's make this happen. We need this to happen. Mikey?
Yeah, well, in recent years, you've become kind of the poster child for intergender wrestling, and you've enjoyed probably more success in that area than any other woman. Do you see intergender wrestling continuing to grow and popularize over time, and do you think that we could eventually see that in an even bigger company like a WWE at some point?
I do understand the why WWE, being a family-friendly company, might shy away from it, because there's that gray area where people are going, oh, what kind of promotes domestic abuse and this and that. And while I understand that, I've had a lot of women come up to me shaking and practically in tears, and some men that will come up and say that my intergender wrestling has been very empowering for them in their lives as individuals. And I don't think there's ever a time where, other than when I very, very first started doing it, where it was more like I was being put in this situation. It wasn't me going after the match, but I feel there are just ways to have it done tastefully. If the girl wants to compete with the man, you can't, it's not fair anymore. It's 2017, and little girls want to play sports in high school with the men or with the boys. And so I feel as though, to be fair, a punch in wrestling is not a thing. It's illegal. You can't be throwing a closed fist, so guys shouldn't be punching women in general. I don't at all support domestic abuse or domestic violence in any way, shape, or form. However, if I want to compete with men and wrestle against men, and I'm okay with that, then I know what I'm getting myself into. And I think it's slowly but surely becoming more and more accepted by just people in general and society in general. Because women, we're in a time of women empowerment, so I have faith. I have faith. Someday.
BG, final question?
Well, WWE recently announced that women represent almost half of its audience, but it's still a rarity overall in wrestling to see women wrestlers featured in main event storylines. What do you think that you have to do in the promotions you work for, or women wrestlers in general have to do, in order to receive more main event opportunities?
It's just, I kind of feel like it's match quality, and honestly, I will say this. I'm a very competitive person, and when I started training, I always told myself that I have to be just as good, if not better, than the men, to be treated as an equal. So if women are going out there and they say, you know what, I'm going to start wrestling and competing harder than these guys are on the shows, then eventually people are going to take note, and it's going to get to the point where some of the men aren't going to be able to keep up with the women. And in those scenarios, that's when the promoters have to sit there and go, oh, okay, well, maybe we need to change things up and maybe put the women on last, because they're going to steal the show. And I honestly, with some of the quality of women out there anymore, I feel like it's going to happen more and more. It's just a matter of promoters and promotions being more open-minded to it.
Well, a huge thank you to our guest tonight, Candice LeRae, catching her stealing the show at the Wrestle Circus 1-year anniversary event, Circus Mania, on October 21st. Tell the fans where else they can support you.
Oh, man. I'm all over the place the next couple months. Well, they can find all these different places that I'll be at on Twitter, and I'm at Candice LeRae, same as Instagram, at Candice LeRae, nothing fancy, just is what it is. But yeah, I mean, Wrestle Circus, and I have to promote bar wrestling for Joey because, you know, that's a big one for me right now. So all over the place, all over.
Another huge thank you. Good luck moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.